Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year, because I think this is the first video I've done this year, besides like a little short. I hope that everyone is doing awesome, that your new year has been off to a great start, that you have been healthy and well. I just wanted to share this. God gave it to me a couple of days ago on my way to work, and I just jotted down real quick. I wasn't writing or texting and driving. I did like the little talk text and just hurry up and got it out as I was hearing it. But with us coming into this new year, and everybody wanting to do New Year's resolutions and really doing some introspection and really thinking about who you want to be, who you have been, and where you're at right now. This is what God gave me. We have to be more concerned with our true joy and happiness than who is happy with us. It is so easy with the metaverse and on Facebook, Instagram, world, and seeing all of these perfect moments of everyone's life and these perfect poses of everyone's body and these perfect shots of everyone's faces. It is so easy to get caught up in trying to get that approval, trying to get those likes, those hearts, those whatever. It's so easy to get caught up with what people are going to think about me. Will people like me if I do this? Will people like me to do that? If I cut my hair like this, if I listen to this type of music, if I wear this type of outfit, if I do this, what is going to get me the most likes? What's going to get me the most attention? And a lot of times, without even realizing it, you're compromising your joy. You're compromising your peace. You're compromising your happiness, trying to make sure that everybody else approves of how you are happy. We can't do that. It's poor mental health. It's poor self-care. It's not going to lead to anything that is going to look like a whole life or an abundant life or a happy life. It's not going to. You might be a popular life, but it's not going to lead to anything that looks like a happy or a whole life. And just we're supposed to ultimately, as children of God, and even if you're not there and accepting that, love ourselves and love others as we love ourselves, okay? Love God, love yourself, and love others as you love yourself. If you are not loving yourself, how are you going to love anyone else? What's going to come out of you if you always are the sacrifice? If you are always if you're always putting what is truly you on the back burner, how are you going to be loving, accepting, and kind to anyone else? It's not possible. You can't pull from a well that's dry, right? If there is no love in you for you, how are you pulling love out of you? How are you loving on anyone else? How are you doing that? How do you do that? That's not possible. You have to be concerned with your happiness, concerned with your wellness, concerned with your first. Get you there first, and then love on someone else, and then pour into someone else, and then you can forgive someone else. You have to be gracious and forgiving to yourself before you can be gracious and forgiving to others. You have to be accepting and kind to yourself before you can be accepting and kind to others, right? And this is the other part God gave me, and then I'm just gonna have like some complete transparency and openness for me about all of this. Are you, this is a question I had to ask myself, and God was posing it to me to ask myself, and there are other people that I know need to ask this of themselves as well. Are you more concerned with what other people are saying and thinking about you than what you are saying and thinking to yourself? And that kind of sounds like just like what I said at first, but here's the difference. Are you speaking unkindly to yourself because of what you think somebody might say about you? Like, let's take it back. We're talking about metaverse. So let's talk about Instagram. When you're going to post a picture or a moment on Instagram, are you saying things like, you look fat in that? They're gonna think you're fat. That you look like this. You look old. Oh, your hair look like. Are you saying those things to yourself? Are you putting those thoughts in your head because you're so worried about what someone else is going to think or say? Are you doing that in your relationships or in your friendships? Are you saying mean things to yourself because you're trying to get ahead of what they're going to say about you or what they're going to think about you? You so fat, you can't buy that. Everybody gonna laugh at you. Do you say that to yourself? Do you say that to yourself? You're not that pretty. You can't post that picture. You can't post a picture with no makeup. You are not that pretty. They're going to make fun of you. They're going to laugh at you. Like, are you telling yourself these things? Are you saying these things to yourself? Are you so concerned with the thoughts of others that you are now internalizing negativity and speaking negativity to yourself and constantly in your head tearing down and beating up yourself? Are you doing that? You have to really take a step back sometimes from this world, from the metaverse, from the internet, and invest in yourself. Speaking kindness to yourself, thinking kind things to yourself, forgiving yourself, giving grace to yourself. Because you know better than anyone. Everything that you've done, everything that you've been through, you know better than anyone, right? And if you are able, knowing all the wrong you've done, even the stuff that nobody else might not even, other people might even know you did these things, said these things, were in these places. Everybody else might not even know, but you know. And if you can forgive yourself, if you can work through grace for yourself, knowing all that you've done, it is that much easier to be gracious and forgiving to others. It is that much easier to be kind and loving to others when you can do it for yourself, because you have something to pull from. And I said, this is the transparent moment for me, just to be an example. For me, I've talked about before in some previous video that I have been divorced twice. I've been married twice, been divorced twice. And for me, I knew, for one, that I was completely ignoring and disobeying everything that God said to me, even by being married and continuing those relationships. Two, that I was disobeying God in the way that I was continuing those relationships, just using sex as a pawn to keep a relationship going, different things, a lot of different things, compromising morals, all that. Three, that I would mishandle the relationships, being controlling, not being honest, not being, not giving any type of grace, lots of things. Not just lots of things. And knowing that I was using marriage as something that marriage is not supposed to be used as. I was using it to get acceptance because I thought if I had this pretty perfect picture that I could create that, you know, that I would be liked, that I would be applauded, that, you know, I did everything I was supposed to do. Look at me checking off all these boxes. I'm a wife and I'm a mom and I'm a godly woman and none of it was in the context that it was created to be in. And I was not being a godly woman. I was being a worldly woman because all I really cared about was being accepted by everyone in my community and the people around me. And that's what I cared about. And I cared about winning because there was a lot of drama that preceded my first marriage. And I was like, I won, I got him. I'm like, no, because I was not the person who was supposed to be with him. And so it was horrible. And he was not the person that was supposed to be with me. And that marriage turned out to be not good. Nothing good and nothing of God and nothing that God would want marriage to be. Because I got him, but you were never supposed to have him. So what are you doing? And you knew that, and you heard God say that. You heard God say that that wasn't the person you were supposed to marry, but you completely disobeyed. That was my reality. And all of these things, all of these decisions, all of these mindsets, the behaviors that went with the mindsets and the decisions, I had to forgive myself for every wrong choice. I had to first accept that I made a wrong choice. And most of us, even though we won't really want to do it out loud, we accept that we have made wrong choices within ourselves because we tear ourselves apart for them. We rip ourselves to shreds for our wrong choices. We tell ourselves every day how this, that, and the other we are, that everything but a child of God we are. Most of us can't accept. There are those that can't, narcissists, but there are those that can't, but most of us can't. So accepting that and then forgiving myself. And that's the step that most of us get stuck at or stop at. Forgiving myself and giving myself grace to learn better and do better. And that was really hard. And it was a long, long, long process. And I still have my days where I want to have a negative thought about myself for my bad decisions. But I have to remind myself that I know better now. That I made a mistake. I made the wrong choices. I focused on the wrong things. I walked the wrong path. But God forgave me and I forgive me. And I know better now. That's why Tatsy says forgiven. But I know better now. And when I could do that, then I could honestly and completely forgive the people that I was married to for the things that they got wrong and the ways that they mishandled me. And I could completely forgive them for that. And not only because, you know, forgiving people is a huge thing and it's really hard and it takes a lot. But usually it's so hard because you are so unforgiving with yourself that it's hard to forgive anyone else. But forgiveness is hard. Forgiveness is hard. But for not only forgiving them, but because I had forgiven me, I could apologize to them. Because when you let go of guilt and shame, which is unforgiveness to yourself and not being gracious with yourself, when you let go of guilt and shame, it's easier to be kind. It's easier to be loving. It's easier to, right? It's easier to do that. It's easier to admit I was wrong. You know what? I did not handle our situation right. I did not handle you right. I did not do the right thing concerning us. So, excuse my stomach rumbling. I wanted to do this before. I wanted to address my spiritual expectations before I did whatever my flesh needed to do. So I did go ahead and just did this video without eating. But, so excuse my stomach rumbling. Sorry. But I did not, I could not even see, before I forgave myself, I'm not even finna like front, like, oh, I'm so holy, I apologize to people. even though I felt like they'd done me wrong. No, I couldn't even see my wrong in any of it until I forgave myself for being a part of it and for creating what I did to create the situation. And then I could see, once I saw that, I could see how in the situation I mishandled things with them, different situations with them where God would have had me do this instead of this. If you're going to be with this person, you do this instead of this. This is how you treat your husband as a wife. Even though God never told me to be their wife, I could see that. I could see how I mistreated them as I chose to be in this role. And I allowed you to play this role in my life. And so there's a certain way I should have treated you. I should have spoken to you. I should have handled you. There's a certain level of honesty that should have been there. And I didn't. And I could apologize. And the thing about receiving an apology, it helps people heal. It helps people see themselves and grow. And the thing about forgiving someone, it helps you heal and it helps you grow. And all of that has to be preceded by forgiving yourself, loving yourself, being gracious to yourself, caring about your joy, your wholeness, your peace, your happiness, instead of worrying about whether someone else is happy with you, whether someone else approves of you, whether someone else is thinking good thoughts about you, worrying about all that. Think good thoughts about yourself. Speak kindness to yourself. Love on yourself. Be gracious with yourself. Forgive yourself, because that is the first step to creating an environment of healing and peace and love and joy around you, right? But the first step is letting go of what are people going to think about me? Are people happy with me? What are people going to say about me? What are people saying about me? What do people think about me? Does everyone approve of what I'm doing? Does everyone like what I'm doing? Is everybody going to be happy with me if I tell the truth? If I admit my wrongs, if I own my stuff, if I forgive myself, if I'm like Michael Todd says, if I'm hot, humble, open, and transparent. If I'm humble, open, and transparent, and I forgive myself and I love myself, is everybody going to be okay with me? Throw that away. Who cares? Throw it away. Throw it away. Because none of it's going to, even if they were happy with you, you wouldn't be happy with you. Even if they did approve of you, you wouldn't have peace with you. You wouldn't have peace. You wouldn't have joy. You wouldn't be happy. You wouldn't. Start right at owning everything you've done and loving yourself anyway, and forgiving yourself and giving yourself grace. You do deserve it. We all don't deserve it and are able to have it anyway. So that was all. None of us are going to get it right. All of us has gotten things wrong. But you still deserve love. You still deserve grace. You still deserve forgiveness. It's still there. And when you can give it to yourself, you can give it to others. And when you can give it to others, you can create a different atmosphere and environment around you. And changing your atmosphere right where you are and changing the environment right where you are is how we change and affect our world. And I said a lot. And I'm at 20 minutes. I don't think I've ever made a 20-minute video. If you made it all the way to the end, I hope that this blessed your heart so much. I hope that it freed you. And if you're the one person that God wanted to hear this, I am so glad you heard this. And I am so happy and excited for your freedom and for your wholeness and for your peace and for your joy. Be love, be light.